Okay, it's Dr. Johan here again. Welcome back to Module 3, Exercise 3, Lesson number 5. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed the globe effect exercises, because as we move along, things are going to happen, things are going to change spiritually, and you need to know how to cope with this. So well done if you're with us right now, and I hope you enjoy the next session. We're going to be talking about the Kundalini, and again, unfortunately, and I say this with respect, unfortunately, the Kundalini has been linked to the negativity of the reptilian brain. But understand that any student, whether they are beginning or they experienced or they intermediary, the Kundalini plays a very, very big role in spirituality. And for those of you that may know the Kundalini under another name, and you must be wondering, what is this Kundalini? Well, in Africa, we call it the Dlozi. Okay, just don't worry about it. It's DZLOZI, and it just means the Kundalini. And what the Kundalini really is you get a pain in the lower back. And with this pain comes the headaches. You may be experiencing headaches. You may be experiencing earache, irritability, not eating properly, all these sort of things. Or you're lying down and your back hurts, your lower back hurts. You go for a run, you go for a walk, and the legs hurt, the top of the legs, the back of the legs. And this is all to do with the Kundalini, because remember now that we have started a spiritual journey where we are awakening all your spiritual senses. We've woken up the brain, we've woken up the insides of the body. Now the Kundalini starts. And when the Kundalini rises, it is severe back pain and discomfort. And we really, many people around the world that have been on a shamanic journey will tell you how important the Kundalini is to them, depending on what shaman journey they've undertaken. For example, in Africa, when I did my training and when I qualified, I had to allow the Kundalini to rise. Now, what does this mean? Well, excuse my drawings again, but let me show you what it means. If we look at the spine, and have a look. I know that looks more like a tooth, but have a look at where the hips are and the lower spine. And we call it in Africa the rising of the Kundalini. We say we're giving birth to our spiritual guides. And what happens is when this Kundalini, this sheer power that starts at the bottom of the spine, this is where our core strength comes from. Speak to any training at the gym, anybody that teaches training or gym, they'll tell you your core strength comes from the lower back, okay, and the front, and this is where we operate from. Now, again, we look at the power that comes from there. For example, if you're lifting a box, you use your legs, but a lot of the power that you're using, and it shouldn't be like that, but we are human, we do this, we tend to use the strength of the muscles in the lower back. Okay, hence we end up with back problems. But the spiritual energy that comes from that part of our spine, the Kundalini, is in actual fact, they refer to it as a snake. Depends on what you want to call it, really. I call it the Kundalini because I don't like to say I have a snake coiling up my spine, but that's your choice. And what happens is the Kundalini rises, and I hope you can see my drawings. And it rises to where the base of our skull is. Now, what's important about this, more important than my drawing, is that understand that when the Kundalini rises, when the spiritual power rises up our spine, okay, we find that our bodies, our physical body will be at a certain level, okay, and our spiritual energy is at a different level, and we find this discourse in our bodies. We'll find that we suffer aches and pains and all sorts of things, and we're really just out of sorts, because what's happening is as we're doing these exercises and as we go on the spiritual journey and calling, our spiritual energy rises because we are doing certain exercises to increase our spirituality. So we can't, the spiritual world just will not take our spiritual energy and our physical energy and rise them together or raise them together, because we'll self-combust. There'll be an absolute explosion, which is just ridiculous. Okay, so what spirit? I told you they had a personality, and I told you they had a sense of humor. So what they do is they will raise your spiritual energy to a certain point, and then they stop. Okay, then and during that period you can see spiritual energy here, physical energy here, and of course there's a discrepancy. There's aches and pains and all sorts of, and that's why a lot of spiritual people are always complaining they don't feel well, or their bodies hurt, or they got headaches, and they sound terribly like ill people. Okay, hypochondriacs is the word I use, but they're not. They have very good reason for this. So what happens, that the spirit now stops the spiritual growth, and they start bringing up the physical energy and the physical growth, and then the two meet. And at that level, there's a sheer spiritual energy bliss where we feel that, oh man, this is all working so well, and we feel so good, and man, I'm feeling so intuitive and so psychic. And then of course spirit kicks in with their sense of humor again, and they start raising your spiritual energy because of your exercises. Now we have the aches and pains, and this is how the growth pattern works with the Kundalini. Remember, but now think about this. Just take a moment and think about this. Now, and this could be a positive or it could be a negative, depending on how you look at this. So if I am spiritually and physically, energetically moving up higher, and I'm connecting more to the spiritual world and my universal light, okay, and I'm with somebody, maybe in a marriage, a partnership, a friendship, and they're not doing this. Now that works exactly the same, because I, as a human being, will spiritually grow and leave behind some very important people. What happens then is that spirit will introduce you to like-minded people. So suddenly you'll start being attracted to, becoming friends with people who are vibrating at the same spiritual level as you. So don't be surprised and don't feel really sad about this, but it is a journey, and it is a spiritual journey, that you do tend to leave people behind because they're not, or don't care to go on the spiritual journey with you. You will end up with somebody that you will enjoy their company on the same spiritual level. So the Kundalini plays a very important part and has to be treated as such. Now remember, I said to you that the Kundalini, the energy from the hips, will end up at the base of the skull. Now I'm going to test you. What is at the base of the skull? The reptilian brain. Did I not tell you how important the reptilian brain is? So now what happens is that I personally, when I bring this energy up my spine, the Kundalini, and it reaches the base of my skull and the reptilian brain, I then imagine an explosion of light coming out from where the two connect, the lower skull and the Kundalini coming up. Where they meet, I just imagine this unbelievable hood of light, and I make sure that it surrounds me. A bit like, I would think, a Batman suit or a Superman suit, where you have this cape and this beautiful big, like fireworks. I really go out of my way to make this the biggest spiritual light explosion that I can. And I see all the different colors, and it all is part of connecting the top of the skull, the hypothalamus, the reptilian brain, to the Kundalini, down into my hips. Because remember, I don't want to just change one part of me spiritually. I want to change everything that I was given spiritually to change. And that is how it all works. So I hope you enjoyed this about the Kundalini, and I look forward to the next session and the next exercise with you. But until then, stay well and keep practicing. You will not regret it. Until then, talk to you later.